Imagine Benjamin Franklin was never born. No famous portrait, no poor Richard, no old man in Paris charming everyone with a smile and a stack of letters. Here's the wild part. America could still become independent, but the America we know would be shakier. In a Franklinless timeline, two outcomes get more likely. Independence is delayed by years, or the United States is born smaller, broke, and more unstable. And it all comes down to one word: France. Rewind to 1776. The colonies are fired up, but freedom isn't just a feeling, it's logistics. Gunpowder, money, supplies, ships, and a real navy. Across the ocean stands Britain, one of the strongest powers on Earth. Franklin understood something most people miss. You don't win a revolution with muskets alone. You win it with credibility, reputation, alliances, and powerful friends willing to bet on you. Without Franklin, America has a brutal problem. To Europe, this doesn't look like a sure thing. It looks like a risky rebellion far away, and nobody wants to pour cash into a cause that might collapse. France wasn't the only factor, but it was the factor that could change the scale of the war. So here's the first big question. Without Franklin, does France ever say yes? In the real timeline, Franklin wasn't just a diplomat. He was the brand. In Paris, he looked like the American idea in human form. Curious, modern, confident. He made French elites feel like backing the rebels wasn't charity, it was a smart investment in the future. Without him, the pitch is colder. More paperwork, less magic. And when the pitch is colder, hesitation gets louder. And in a revolution, hesitation is contagious. Once doubt spreads overseas, it spreads back home even faster. If France hesitates, everything slows down. Support arrives later or in smaller doses. And when support is delayed, the dominoes fall fast. A longer war, heavier debt, and more frustration at home. French help wasn't just applause, it was loans, weapons, and ships. It turned a desperate rebellion into a war effort that looked real. And time is brutal. Time wins, because patience breaks unity. Revolutions don't always die in one dramatic battle. They die slowly when people get tired, broke, and divided, and eventually they say, enough. So if the war drags on, do Americans stay united long enough to finish the job? The longer it goes, the more cracks appear. People start blaming each other. States start arguing, money gets weird, soldiers lose morale. The dream starts feeling expensive. Now let's say America still pulls it off and wins. The war ends, but winning the war isn't the same thing as building a country. Nations aren't truly born on battlefields, they're born at peace tables. That table doesn't just decide whether Britain recognizes independence. It decides borders, trade, and access to land, the shape of the future. In a Franklinless world, America likely arrives at that table weaker. More debt, less leverage, less international credibility. Even if independence happens, the deal could be rougher. Borders could be messier. Britain's influence could linger longer. Westward expansion could slow down or get more chaotic. So here's the next question. What if America becomes independent but comes out of it smaller? Because if the peace deal is less favorable, the map could look different. And when the map changes, everything changes. Economy, politics, future states, future conflicts. Borders aren't just lines, they're opportunity. And even after the war, the next fight is staying connected. A nation survives on networks, news, mail, institutions, the systems that connect people who live far apart and make them feel like they're on the same team. Franklin helped push a functioning national communication system early on. Without him, that wiring can form slower. And when national wiring forms slower, news travels late and rumors travel fast. States act on their own. The central government looks weak. People stop thinking we and start thinking us versus them. That leads to the question that can break a young country. Are we actually one nation, or just a bunch of states temporarily cooperating? So here's the clean summary of a Franklin-less timeline. America probably still exists, but it takes longer to become America. Independence comes later, debt is heavier, peace terms are tougher, and unity forms slower. Yes, America can still be born, but it stays fragile for longer, more divided, more exhausted, and less sure of what it even is. And that's the point of this series. When one person disappears, the country might still exist, but its character changes. So, who should we erase next? Because in this timeline game, the real question isn't always, does America survive? Sometimes the real question is, what kind of America survives?